I would like to start off by suggesting that what we're seeing in this war, of which the climate gate is just one aspect, is much more than a war over climate change. It is a war between two profoundly divergent worldviews. Between the worldview of those people backed by very large amounts of corporate money and by AstroTurf campaigns and all sorts of devious tactics, but also mobilizing people who genuinely appear to feel this way, a movement of people who believe there should be no constraints on the way they live, who believe they should be able to do whatever they want, regardless of whose interests they might be trampling. In fact, who believe that trampling other people's interests is almost their human right. And they object ferociously to anyone who says, you may not swing your fist if someone else's nose is in the way. They object ferociously if you say you can't destroy other people's lives in order to make a bit more money for yourself. This is not just a war over climate change. This is a war over human decency and sheer bloody selfishness. That's the real dividing line here. And the party of sheer bloody selfishness is in the ascendant at the moment. And they're in the ascendant partly because they have the backing of big money, partly because people really don't want to face what we are confronted with. They don't want to know about the sheer scale of the challenges we face. Calling it climate change is a bit like calling a foreign invasion unexpected visitors. Or a bombing campaign, the delivery of unwanted packages. I mean, we're talking about an existential threat here. But if it weren't this issue, it would be another one. You know, we've got a summit billed as the most important meeting that's ever taken place in the history of humanity to deal with the immediate crisis of climate change. But say, by some miracle, they deal with it and that crisis is completely solved, and there is no climate breakdown. In a few years' time, they'll be dealing with the crisis of peak oil, and then the crisis of fresh water, and the crisis of phosphate, and the crisis of soil, and a whole series of crises lined up behind this immediate crisis, which all have at their root the same problem, the belief that we can have perpetual growth on a finite planet. That is one of the fundamental underlying problems. And those of us who are on the side of urging restraint, of saying there have to be limits, otherwise you destroy other people's lives, we are fighting forces very much bigger than ourselves. But we are fighting it from our hearts as well as from our heads. We are fighting it from a position of genuine belief. We are fighting it from the knowledge, the absolutely certain knowledge, that unless we engage in this fight and win, we and our descendants will live in a far crueler, more brutal and more degraded place than we inhabit today. And it's because of that passion and because of that belief that despite the overwhelming force of numbers and issues and money against us, I think that eventually we will come out on top. But we will do so only if we are fully aware of what we are fighting here. We'll do so only if we bear in mind that this is not a battle over chemicals, about certain greenhouse gases which enter the atmosphere. This is a battle over humanity. It's about who we are, about who we want to be, about what we want our future to be, about what kind of ape we decide to become. And it's a battle which those who urge that human decency must be paramount must win. And those who urge that they should have a right to trash other people's life in pursuit of their own interests must lose. Only one of those sides can win. It must be us. Thanks.